Are you lost? Or are you looking for something? Walking around here, it's dangerous. This is not recommended for everybody. Kiddos can come along, but they're gonna only have more questions than answers. But that's part of this journey. Enter if you dare. My name is Dakota Frandsen, and this is Specialist of the Strange Radio Show, where we go into various topics of the unknown and bring them to light. And maybe, just maybe, we'll discover something new along the way. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. You're not going to want to miss this.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Specialist of the Strange Radio Show. My name is Dakota Frandsen, and we are here on Friday the 13th. Oh my dear God. Has it been a week? How's things going for y'all? Y'all doing okay? I'm asking seriously. I don't know about some of y'all, but this week has just been wackadoodle. Blame it on 2020, am I right? Let's see, for me, it started out with a double UFO above my house. Okay, more like a mile from my house, but nevertheless. Now, 2 car accidents, and a freaky stalker situation with one of my friends. Everybody goes okay. One of them is needing to probably go into surgery in order to correct some of the back pain she's experiencing. So, prayers for her. Prayers for her. Another literally just got a new car within 15 minutes. Some asshole sideswiped it, apparently. Like, ooh. Just been a crazy week. And on top of that, last night I did a special guest appearance on X Zone Radio. If you want to catch that too short interview, the link should be in below. If you want to hear more from me on that show, or if you just want to, or just, what was I saying? See, crazy week. If you want to get more of me on that show, or have any connections for other shows you think I might be a good fit for, let me know. Let them know. We need the power of the people. Maybe if enough people write me in as a requested guest, we can go back on there and finish up some of the conversations. But you want to catch that? A link will be in the interview. It'll be one of those shortened bit.ly links, just in order to try to save a little space. Otherwise, let's continue with today's broadcast. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, tonight's subject may not be a good idea for this year, but we're going to do it anyway. I announced on the last episode we were going to know a little bit about Project Stargate, but I want to expand upon that, going into other projects like MKUltra, why the governments of the world seem to be interested in such powers, and why do they allegedly shut those programs down? What is the story there? Was there anything actually found from these things? It'd definitely be interesting. would definitely be interesting to be a fly on the wall in those situations. Most of them took place way before I was born, but allegedly there are more programs in works right now that the public does not know about and may not never know about. But this is with everything going on this year, we can't ever rule out the possibility, now can we? Strap in, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dakota Frandsen, the one, the only specialist of the strange. And like I said, if you have ideas for future topics on this show, let me know. I'm more than happy to take suggestions. Now, let's see if we're still able to do this show with everything going on with the U.S. presidential election. Oh my god, right? Please don't start any fights. I made a comment about the election frauds and alleged glitches in the systems ending up like the fucking plot to the movie Man of the Year. All we're missing is goddamn Robin Williams. And it caused so many goddamn fights. My god, people, just take the fucking joke! And unfortunately, it's those very same people why the American election system has become the fucking joke it is nowadays. Maybe I should run for president, but unfortunately we've got about 2 months and 10 years before I'm officially old enough to meet all of the qualifications. So, we'll get it figured out. We'll see what happens if we fucking survive, because apparently the Simpsons predicted that the election for this year would result in a fucking Armageddon the day after inauguration. Day after my birthday. Been a strange year. Very strange year. So how about we get into the first commercial break and we stop messing around and get into tonight's topic, shall we? Sounds good. Alright. Now, before I get started, some of you may be wondering why I decided to pair Project Stargate and MKUltra onto the same file. Well, when it comes to situations like Project Stargate, the official report is that the United States military and government never really had any serious involvement when it comes to them. In fact, a lot of reports actually say that the Stargate project never received any missions until all other options were exhausted. Meaning that it was literally put together in the sense that let's toss it. Essentially, their mindset towards it is that if they couldn't figure out a solution to whatever problems they were facing, alright, let's just give it to these wackos. Maybe they'll get something. Ooh. But let's talk about for a minute, what about all of the rumors that come out of it? How much of it is true? How much of it is just people letting their imaginations run wild because there's so much mystery and overall strangeness behind it that the human fascination for the unexplained took over and maybe even corrupted some of the results. That's what I want to dig into for this episode. Some may be familiar with MKUltra thanks to shows like Stranger Things. A lot of film and television series that focus on government secrets tend to bring it up. On the surface, the two do seem to be relatively connected, and not just in the dealings of conspiracy theories. It is also not disputed that these things actually took place, and may in fact still be functioning under new names, new aliases, new fronts.
We seem to be experiencing some technical difficulties. Damn you, Men in Black!
I'm just kidding. It's Friday the 13th. Shit's been weird. Now, as I was trying to say, I was trying to explain, why did I decide to pair up Stargate Project with MKUltra? Well, these same fucking agencies were involved in both. And these same fucking agencies have a long history of shady-ass tactics which allowed both of these projects to flourish until something came forward. MKUltra allegedly, the project got shut down after several of the documents pertaining to their findings were destroyed once an investigation probe was launched, which is the source of a lot of conspiracy theories. Excuse me. And it's also the fact that several alleged witnesses, alleged victims, came forward detailing the types of torture, abuse that the test subjects would undergo. Many were rumored to not have any consent or knowledge of what they were getting themselves into. Project Stargate dealt a lot more openly in regards to psychic phenomenon, focusing on remote viewing, trying to utilize it in espionage missions. It is stated on the official records that the project was shut down due to lack of credible findings, and that slowly but surely those involved with the project started to leave, disappointed with the results, but alleged witnesses have testified that there were in fact results, and the main controversy that surrounded it, allowing it to be shut down, was due to the fact that it escalated from espionage to psychic assassinations. And there was also stories that subjects who underwent testing in all affiliated government projects, this is solely focusing on the United States. The Russians, the Chinese have also allegedly had their own versions of the program, with rumored to be a lot less strict guidelines. So the CIA wasn't allowing people to be so mentally damaged by the types of drugs they were injecting them with, getting involved in sexual abuse, torture, things like that. You can just imagine what everybody else is doing. But what does this all entail? What does it all mean? In my experience as a paranormal investigator, trauma has been known to be a major catalyst in awakening psychic abilities. It is probably the fastest route possible that they could take. And unfortunately, it also causes the worst burnout. You can actually kill people. Obviously, you can kill people by torturing them. Duh! But you can actually cause a lot of mental burnout within a test subject if you're not careful with what you're doing. It is possible for one to fry their own brains if they focus too much on certain psychic exercises. It's a lot like muscle memory, in a way. So by all accounts, what does it all mean? Was something found? Obviously, when it comes to MKUltra, something was found. And the CIA wanted to cover their asses because they knew what they were doing wasn't legal. And it's often rumored that the CIA has been involved. And in fact, the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States has actually been known to allow themselves to fund operations utilizing the war on drugs, escalating the political influences and conflicts within foreign nations, without the U.S. government having any say or knowledge of the activities. Special Forces operations often, when these types of operations take place, they're called dark cells. That doesn't feel like it's the right term, but they're dark cell operators. Which means, if you go into this operation, you get caught, you get busted, you die. The United States government will not acknowledge any prior involvement or knowledge of your activities. You will have gone rogue, you will have betrayed your country. That would be the official statements they would release if this information was brought out. If not, the CIA cleaning up their tracks and assassinating whistleblowers, failed operatives. You get the picture. The argument can also be presented is that it is these projects that emphasize the potentials and fragileness of the human mind. How our own bodies can easily turn against itself if the right influencers are in place. I mean, look at COVID-19. A lot of patients who allegedly develop antibodies, those antibodies developed from the virus, are attacking the host's systems rather than the virus itself. Under the right influences, someone can betray themselves. It is also the rumors which have come out of alleged eyewitnesses, survivors, whistleblowers, why there's a lot more focus on being careful in how you present one's own mental state. And under corrupt terms, it also presents how easy it would be to get false confessions out of someone. In fact, that's an argument still being influenced today within modern law enforcement. But would these things have any use? MKUltra, Stargate Project, everything affiliated with those, would those have any actual use? This is where the things get interesting. It is through MKUltra, Project Stargate, the findings in which were traded through these projects, where the rumors of superpowers come to fruition. It is stated that some subjects were shown to be more resilient in the trials. Doses were upped, voltage was upped, because there were a lot of electrode connections to the human brain in order to induce the brain waves believed to be connected to remote viewing, clairvoyance, psychic visions, things of that nature. So, instead of going into the conspiracies behind it, let's stick with the main theme of this show. Let's say that MKUltra Project Stargate did in fact have some sort of influence in the study of psychic phenomena, and that something was found. What would that something be? Well, let's operate under the assumption of remote viewing. How in the hell would that work? For those of you who don't know, remote viewing essentially is somehow, through psychic means, basically, think of it as like someone sending out a drone to record footage of something going on far away. Say, let's take the wildfires, for example. Remote viewing, someone is able to use their own psychic image to place their psychic image in a certain spot to be able to see what's going on with the fires. Okay? How is that possible? What would we define as that psychic image? Is it a portion of the soul? So if the soul's out of the body, does that mean that person's technically dead? This is the part I want to focus on for these programs. Psychic viewing. What would that entail? Well, you might just say that we would have to shine a light on the subject. I'll tell you what I mean after the commercial break. And I apologize if this seems to be all over the place. 2020 seems to be trying to end with a bang with me.
Oh.
Before the commercial break, and what was probably the most broken up, stuttered filled explanation of tonight's topic, and I do apologize for that. I was talking about what the underlying mechanics may be for psychic viewing, remote viewing, psychic visions, things like that. And this may go into how telekinetic abilities may manifest, as well as human teleportation and object manifestation. And before I went to commercial break, there was kind of a key word, key phrase I used. Let's shine a light on it. Now this kind of plays off of the old saying, a person's inner light, their soul. The soul is made of light. We are beings of light. This is kind of a play on that, but hear me out. In quantum physics, light particles have been seen doing some rather strange things. If you were to separate two identical particles, let's say these balls are like rattlers. Those little plastic balls that have like a little bell on the inside that you throw to your pets, to your cats, to get them to smack it around, making a whole bunch of noise. Let's use that as an example. Say you have two identical toy balls. You separate them out. The cat goes to play with one of them, goes to smack it around. Now you're looking at the cat and going, oh, look, he's enjoying it, he's having fun. You look at the other ball. For some reason, the ball that the cat has not even touched or even seemed to have thought about starts darting around all by itself. And you're watching it, and you're watching the cat, and you notice the ball is moving exactly the same way as the other ball the cat is playing with. Say the cat manages to throw the ball in the air, the other ball flies up in the air seemingly on its own. How is this possible? Light particles have been seen showing this exact behavior. No matter, say if you have 6 feet apart, 10 feet apart, on the other sides of on completely opposite sides of the planet even. Light particles, for some reason, if you do something to one of them, the other one almost immediately starts behaving the same way. Somehow these things are connected still, even miles and miles apart. Here's another example. Teleportation was actually achieved not too long ago. Scientists managed to set up a teleportation pad using light particles as the subjects. And what they found when the teleporter was turned on is that for a split second, say you're trying to teleport your phone or whatever device you're using to listen to this show on. Say you wanted to be able to instantaneously move that device over somewhere else without having to pick it up, without touching it, none of that. You wanted to teleport it over somewhere for some odd reason. You hit teleport, everything runs smoothly. Then all of a sudden you notice you suddenly have two phones for a brief second before one disappears and the other one fully appears. For some reason, light particles, when the conditions are induced for them to teleport, for a brief second, they show up in two places at once. In previous episodes, I have described how the human body can sometimes be an anchor for spirits. What if it's something else? What if we're our own source of light? And if the right conditions are induced, we can manipulate that light to do whatever we please with it. We can make ourselves teleport to other locations. We can make ourselves seemingly appear in multiple places at once. How is this stuff possible? Science is actually still trying to figure that out. The short answer is they believe that it may play into multiple dimensions. Some sort of glitch, for lack of a better word. in multiple universes, multiple realities that are interconnected somehow, seemingly invisible to the human observer. These acts are coming from some sort of conscious manipulation of reality. And I can go even further by saying that it has also been noted that sometimes light particles can change properties the second they're observed. What do I mean? An example I've used before is, say that you got like a tennis ball cannon. You feed the balls into it, it shoots out the balls, right? For some reason, say these tennis balls are balls of light. When one goes to look at the balls of light as it exits the cannon, or while the ball's in the air, the ball all of a sudden comes apart. Becomes like a wave of energy. Science is still not sure how the hell that happens either. But it comes under... there are a lot of connections often suggested to Schrodinger's cat. That it's not until an event is observed that you understand the properties of it. And it's also been noted that the second once it's observed, the properties change. Which could very well explain why psychic phenomenon, spirits, and all those seem to be so damn hard to be able to quantify in terms that mainstream science can fully understand. During the X-Zone radio interview I was on last night, we'll be airing live on actual radio here in a few hours, but a copy of it is posted online and will be linked in the description if you're interested in listening in. A number I gave in that paranormal incident, the odds of a legitimate paranormal incident happening without some sort of outside force acting as a catalyst is less than 1% of 1% of 1%. That's been one of the reasons why mainstream science has had such a hard time in figuring this stuff out. Is that according to physicists, the underlying mechanics which may be responsible for paranormal phenomenon, and this is only an assumption, a loose assumption based on the fact that a lot of quantum behaviors seem to be identical to how spirits manifest, manipulate their environment, things of that nature. On top of the odds being so freaking slim, the second you actually see it in action, it changes on you. That's the part that's been confusing a lot of people. And that's not even trying to bring in the situation of ghosts. That's just anomalies within the fabric of our own universe. But you may say, okay, Dakota, so how does that connect to spirits? Well, if the soul is somehow some form of intelligent light, this is simply causing the soul, the human body, to behave like a particle of light to which it can manipulate the environment around it. And technically any molecule can have these conditions induced. You can manipulate the very atoms within certain things to be able to move them from a distance. And it is believed with enough practice, with enough skill, for even, that one could be able to place our own body at different locations. Consciousness and all. If these things are possible, if we're able to induce these conditions within our everyday life, how would that explain ghosts? Well, it is possible that if ghosts are in fact some sort of conscious remnants of beings, it could be that in time there's still enough of a presence, still enough movement to where the consciousness, the physical light properties, the smallest particles of ourselves in which can become what we know as the soul, can be able to live and move on freely after our demise. As the old saying goes, energy cannot be created or destroyed. But then, okay, Dakota, that sounds confusing but interesting. How do projects like Stargate Project, MKUltra possibly play into this? Trauma has been known to induce psychic phenomenon. Trauma has been known to cause the human mind to flare brain activity at all times. The same brain activity in which, if turned on just right, can induce epilepsy, can induce life-threatening conditions even. So, and because the brain is in fact a muscle, and it somehow contributes to all these things, seems to be the main controlling factor. What is it, though? What is it that is controlling? It's hard to say. Sometimes spirits have been known to seem disoriented in patients who suffered extreme mental illness. Those who use drugs. The Stargate Project, whatever findings became true, they may have simply stumbled upon a form of human evolution that we are not ready as a species in order to process, in order to utilize. Those that do, the ones that survive, will likely be head cases. They'll be rambling all sorts of crazy things that nobody would believe them for. Because they want to stay safe in their little bubble, thinking that they know all they need to know about the world. It should also present an interesting opportunity, being that some psychic visions report that their visions were intercepted by UFOs. And it is stated by some abductees that there is a point in which technology and biology become one. once we be able to master that type of technology, we ourselves could potentially become gods. So even if MKUltra was in fact a study of torture, psychological traumas in order to force confessions out of the enemy, the military still has a record of testing upon innocent civilians. If I remember correctly, there's some sort of virus out of the San Francisco Bay that is still yet to be identified, that was confirmed to be released as part of a government test to see how the mass population would deal with an outbreak. Certainly makes you wonder what else is out there, huh? We're going to go for one more commercial break, then we're going to come back with a little bit more information as well as something else special just for you all. For those of you curious, I had to double check my notes here. The operation in which the United States Navy actually released a pathogen off the shores of San Francisco in order to test how pathogens could actually be released through the water. This was back in October of in 1950. Several patients went into the hospital for very rare serious urinary tract infections. There was also cases of pneumonia. Several other tests have actually been known to be conducted by various military officials. Which also makes you wonder, with some of the rumors about the coronavirus, COVID-19 actually being intentionally released by Chinese authorities into the population. And maybe it was a test of their own that got out of control. Further conspiracies fuel this idea due to the fact that Chinese officials have actually bought numerous stock in various worldwide companies in order to take advantage of the crisis, which would not be a dumb idea on their part. I myself have been utilizing extra funds I've had from my day job paychecks in order to invest in certain stocks within companies I knew that had a pretty good chance of bouncing back from this thing, if not surviving it altogether. The world is indeed a strange place. And as some of you may know, I am now officially producing specials. Video specials in order to expand the horizons on our research, on the types of materials I present to you guys. On Halloween, I did The Hunt for Olivia, which will soon, once technical difficulties have been taken care of. The Hunt for Olivia will soon be released on Amazon Prime. It will be available for digital release, as well, hopefully, as well as Blu-ray. Now, the main idea is to try to do at least one special a year, roughly around Halloween, depending on availability of resources. Next year, I'm going to have to make an exception, because part of those stock investments involve privatized, high-risk startup investments, which will allow me to claim territory in space. Details have yet to be confirmed, but 2020 is going to be the year of space travel for me. I myself am actually too tall to become an astronaut, apparently. The height limit is 6'2". I'm 6'7", so I'm earthbound for a bit, but that doesn't mean I can't join in on operations from ground control now, can't I? More details about those are coming up, but earlier today I released a teaser trailer for the next special, which will commemorate the 10-year anniversary of me going public with paranormal investigations. Yes. It has been 10 years. And what am I going to do for this 10-year special? Well, the special is going to be called Bonds of Beyond. And we're going to be exploring the multiverse. We are going to try to make contact with actual extraterrestrials. We're also going to try to make contact with beings from other parallel realities. How is this going to work? If I am able to lure out Olivia from in the previous special, a person who will come to this reality sometime in the future, the underlying mechanics say that it should be theoretically possible for me to even reach farther into other realities. And some of you may have a rough idea of what I'm going to be looking for if you followed the Hunt for Infinite Earths special that got canceled due to the other subject not agreeing with the ideals, and we got into a bit of a altercation that resulted in a possible trip to hell. Yeah, that was not pretty. I'll talk about that in a future episode, by the way. How exactly this will be done, I can't guarantee that it'll work. I never guarantee that these things will produce actual results indicating paranormal activity. But that's not going to stop me from trying, because like I said, I started this week, Monday, just coming home from work, realizing that there were 2 triangle UFOs literally a mile down the road from my house. And how can I tell they were triangle UFOs? Because the second I realized that, those things are flying kind of funny, I sped down the fucking road to get a closer look. But the second I was able to find a spot in order to try to park and get a picture, they were gone. The part that pissed me off even more, because I thought I had a secondary witness, a police officer nonetheless, who didn't see it. And they were right above him. People have got to stop staring at their phones all goddamn day. The aliens are coming. And if you don't think you're going to see aliens, admire the clouds. Admire the weather. Look at the pretty bird. Things like that. My God. I'm going to use my little sister as an example, who is actually pregnant, by the way. Doesn't really have to bring that up, but nevertheless. My little sister. She used to constantly walk around on her phone. And we used to walk to the library in order to have internet access, because the house we used to live at, we didn't have internet. There was at one point where we had to walk over this bridge that overlooked one of the parks nearby. And I noticed, looking down off the bridge, there was a deer. There was a deer. A female, a doe. Just walking, minding its own business. Like, look. I was like, I want to look at my phone. I'm texting. So many people have got to stop looking at their phones all the goddamn time. And some of you will probably say, Dakota, you're looking at your phone all the time. Yeah, well, yeah, because I got to monitor all my businesses. But I still take a moment to admire the stars. Admire the moon. Admire the weather. Because you can't let yourself stress out, especially in times like this. It has recently been brought to my attention that here in Idaho, we are going back another stage in response to COVID-19, and National Guard is going to be involved. Which I hope this thing fucking settles by February, because I promised someone very dear to me that I was coming to see him, and god damn it, I plan on fulfilling that promise. I miss my friends. It's been kind of chaotic, so I've been reaching out to old friends from my travels, just to kind of make myself feel better, put myself in a better headspace. And I just miss them dearly. And some of them like to occasionally listen to my program, so if she's listening, how you doing? You doing good? You gonna laugh like a maniac again? I can kidding. You know I love you. Anyway, I'm kind of going off topic here. So let me know what you think about tonight's episode. If you have any ideas for future episodes, please let me know. Now, what should we go in for next week? Any ideas? Try to think of something Thanksgiving-y themed. Native American, maybe? Actually, you know what? Let's go into Skinwalkers. Have we done I don't think we've done a Skinwalker episode before. Let's go into Skinwalkers. Why? Because that's actually part of my caseload now. An individual who reached out to me who has built their online presence to the fact they firmly believe that their stretch of land has a skinwalker. And they've been showing me some interesting footage. So, let's go into that, shall we? Let's discuss that. Because I don't think we've done an episode on that. I don't know. I've done so many freaking episodes. Done so many of these freaking shows. I'm losing track. So, anyway, I hope everybody had a somewhat safe Friday the 13th. Tune in next week. It'll be the 20th. Going to Skinwalkers. I do hope you have a safe and warm holiday season. You're always more than welcome to spend your time for me. Catch all the episodes. Head to my YouTube channel. That's the best place to find them. Now, as for the specials, there'll be a link to Bonds of Beyond teaser trailer in the description below. As for the specials, the plan is we're going to utilize YouTube as a free movie theater, basically. Then the day after the premiere is when the shows will be available through Amazon Prime and hopefully other services here soon. So be on the lookout for that. This will get fun. Amazon's kind of picky. Likes to help out independent creatives such as myself, but as far as their technical requirements, I'm having a little trouble getting everything up to their specs. So we're going to experiment with that a little bit. I'm also going to be posting information in regards to Bonds of Beyond for those of you who may want to take part. You'll learn more details there. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe. Share this with all your friends and family, maybe even your enemies if you think my show sucks and you want to annoy them. I'll see you all next time. Be kind to one another, alright?